Imagine a day when other people's rudeness no longer ruins your mood. Their insults can no longer get inside your head. Their coldness, dishonesty, contempt touches you but no longer controls you. Imagine walking through a world full of drama, full of ego, full of chaos, with a calm so deep that other people look at you and do not understand why you are not shaken at all. It sounds like a superpower, but it is not a superpower. It is inner strength. And Stoicism spoke about that inner strength thousands of years ago. Most people do not live in peace, they live in reaction. One rude comment is enough to make them angry all day. One contemptuous look is enough to make them lose sleep all night. One small misunderstanding is enough to drag them into hours of wounded pride, arguing, torment, and overthinking. Not because the world is too strong, but because they have never learned how to take their power back from the world. This video is for doing exactly that. Not to make you emotionless, but to make you someone who is no longer dragged around by emotions like an object anyone can touch whenever they want. Not to make you run from friction, but to make you stand in the middle of friction and still remain yourself. Stoicism does not teach you to suppress emotion. Stoicism teaches you to stop being a slave to emotion. That is a huge difference. Suppressing is pretending you do not hurt. Stoicism is knowing where you hurt, why you hurt, and not letting that wound drive your life. If you want to live emotionally untouchable, you must understand one very hard truth. The problem does not begin with other people. It begins with the way you interpret them. Other people only touch the surface. What makes you explode is inside. And when you understand this, you stop asking, why are they like that? You begin asking, why does this have so much power over me? That is the beginning of maturity. Below are the most important Stoic truths for taking back emotional sovereignty. 1. They do not hurt you. They only touch what is already hurting. This is the first shift in perception, and also the hardest one. You think you are hurt because of what they said, because of the way they looked at you, because of the way they dismissed your effort, cut you off, looked down on you, ignored you. But that is only the surface. What really hurts you is what those actions touch inside you. An old wound, a hidden belief, a need to be recognized, a fear of being abandoned, an ego that is living on outside validation. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. People often blame others for their emotions, but in truth they are being controlled by the parts of themselves they still do not understand. Two people receive the same insult. One laughs and lets it go. The other carries anger for 3 days. The insult did not change. What changed is what it touched. When someone ignores you and you suddenly feel invisible, that pain usually did not begin in that exact moment. It is only repeating a feeling that is much older. When someone criticizes you and you react too strongly, many times it is not because the comment was so severe. It is because in your mind, being criticized means you are not good enough. So the real battlefield is not the conversation. It is the part inside you that is being touched. Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Knowing yourself is not only knowing what you like, it is knowing what still hurts in you, what still feels empty, what still craves other people's approval. When you see that, you begin separating yourself from the reaction. You are no longer the anger, you are the one observing the anger. That is freedom. 2. You do not lose power when they speak. You lose power when you believe their words define you. It is not when they insult you that you become weak. You become weak at the moment you let those words enter the center of your self-worth. This is why many people hurt for so long after an argument, not because the other person's words were that powerful, but because deep down, they fear those words are true. A criticism can only stick to you if it attaches itself to an insecurity that already exists. If someone calls you something you do not believe, it will pass by. But if they touch the area you are still uncertain about in yourself, it will stay. So many wounds do not come from the words themselves. They come from the fact that you are still negotiating your value with the world. You are still waiting for other people to confirm that you are good enough, smart enough, lovable enough, important enough, strong enough. And as long as your self-worth is in other people's hands, you will always be easy to wound. Stoicism teaches something deeply freeing. Your value does not go up when someone praises you, and it does not collapse when someone criticizes you. The person who does not understand this will live like a leaf. Every word is a gust of wind. Every facial expression is a change of direction. Every rejection is a storm. The person who understands this will be different. They still listen, still observe, still learn from valid feedback. But they do not hand the key to their self-respect over to the crowd. You do not need everyone to fully understand you in order to stand firm. You only need to know who you are. If you are still listening up to this point, pause for a moment and answer honestly in the comments. Which state are you in more often? 1 means you are still very easily shaken by other people's words, attitudes, and contempt. 2 means you're beginning to understand that no one can really take your power unless you hand it over yourself. Comment 1 or 2 so I know where you are on this journey. And if you want to learn how to stay calm, keep your value, and protect your emotional sovereignty in a world full of chaos, subscribe to the channel right now. 3. Most of your pain does not come from the event. It comes from the script in your head. A lot of people are not hurt by reality. They are hurt because reality does not unfold according to the draft they secretly wrote in their heads. They are kind, then silently expect other people to be kind in return. They give, then silently expect gratitude. They are sincere, then believe others will not hurt them. They try hard, then think life must repay them with fairness. But no one signed that contract except them. And when life does not go according to expectation, they call it betrayal. In truth, much pain does not come from other people doing something wrong. It comes from your belief that they are supposed to do what you hoped for. This is one of the biggest sources of disappointment. You expect people to read your heart. You expect them to live by your moral standards. You expect them to love you the way you love them. But life does not work like a vending machine. It is not true that if you put kindness in, kindness must come out. Stoicism does not tell you to live without standards. It tells you to clearly distinguish between your values and your expectations of other people. Values are the way you choose to live. Expectations are the way you try to force the world to respond. One gives you power. One drains your power. When you let go of some of those invisible contracts, you become much lighter. You still love, still give, still remain kind, but you no longer use your goodness as a trap to force others to behave the way you want. That is emotional freedom. 4. What is making you react so strongly may not really be principle. Sometimes it is just the ego being touched. There are times when you think you are angry because of right and wrong. But if you sit still long enough, you will see that is not always true. A lot of anger does not arise to protect truth. It is only protecting the ego. The ego is very subtle. It disguises itself as righteousness very well. It makes you believe that you are demanding fairness, when what it really wants is simply to be right, to be above, to be respected, to make sure no one touches the image you built of yourself. Someone cuts you off, and you instantly feel heat rising. It may be because it was genuinely rude, but it may also be because you cannot bear the feeling of being treated as if you are small. Someone criticizes you, and you react strongly. It may be because the criticism was wrong, but it may also be because your ego cannot bear the image of I am the capable one being cracked. Aristotle once said, anybody can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, and to the right degree, and at the right time and for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. That is the point. Stoicism does not forbid anger. It forces you to ask, what is this anger protecting? If it is protecting dignity, boundaries, what is right? Then handle it with clarity. If it is protecting pride, the habit of wanting to win, the need to be above others, be careful. Because now you are no longer acting from truth. You are acting from the injury of the ego. A strong person is not someone who has no pride. It is someone awake enough to recognize when the ego is pulling them away. If you have made it this far, leave a very short but very honest comment. When your pride gets touched, which type do you usually fall into? 1 means you react very fast, want to explain, want to prove yourself, want to win right in that moment. 2 means you are beginning to pause and look at whether that anger is coming from a true principle or just from the ego being touched. Comment 1 or 2 so I know which side you are leaning toward. And if you want to build an inner strength powerful enough not to be dragged around by the ego again and again, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. No. 5. Strength is not in reacting fast. Strength is in the pause. This is an extremely powerful skill of a person with inner strength. To pause. Not to stay silent out of fear. Not to hold back out of weakness. But to pause so you do not hand control of yourself over to the emotion that just flared up. A person without training reacts immediately. A person with depth pauses for one beat. A hard-to-hear comment enters the ear. The heart tightens. The chest heats up. The ego wants to burst out right away. But if in that exact moment you say nothing, do nothing, only breathe, you have just stepped through a very important door. That door leads from reaction to mastery. Viktor Frankl said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That pause is where strength lives. In the pause, you see more clearly. What in you is being touched? Whether this emotion is real or just an old habit. Whether what you are about to say will help anything. Whether you want to solve the problem or simply win." Many lives have fallen apart simply because they lacked a few seconds of awareness. Many relationships have died because there was not even one pause before words were thrown out that could never be taken back. Stoicism does not teach you to stay silent forever. It teaches you not to let emotions speak before wisdom has a chance to enter. Speak one beat less, breathe one beat deeper, observe one beat longer. That is the difference between a grounded person and an impulsive one. 6. You are not your emotions. You are the one observing them. This is an extremely deep realization. Most people, when angry, say, "I am this anger." When afraid, they say, "I am being swallowed by this fear." When ashamed, anxious, hurt, they completely dissolve into that emotion. But Stoicism pulls you one step back. You are not the anger. You are the one watching the anger pass through you. You are not the fear. You are the one observing fear arise. A small difference in wording, but an enormous difference in power. When you identify with the emotion, it drives you. When you observe it, you have a choice. Anger says, strike back now. Fear says, retreat now. Self-pity says, hold on to it and torment yourself all night. But the one who can observe emotion is different. They see it. Name it. Do not deny it. But also do not hand the steering wheel over to it. Emotions are guests passing through. You do not need to turn a guest into the owner of the house. When you can do this, you begin to have a rare kind of freedom. You are still human, still feel deeply, but you are no longer pulled away from yourself by short waves of feeling. That is the foundation of emotional invulnerability. 7. Most other people's rudeness is not aimed at you. It is just spilling out of them. This is a truth that will make you much lighter. When other people are bitter, cold, sarcastic, mocking, cutting, sometimes your first reaction is, what did I do wrong? They are targeting me. Am I not good enough? But usually no. Many people are not attacking you. They are just bleeding onto you. They are full of hurt, full of powerlessness, full of chaos. And you happen to be standing in the place where all of that spilled out. This does not excuse bad behavior. It does not mean you must accept being treated badly. But it helps you stop internalizing what was never yours to carry. A hurting person rarely behaves beautifully. A person with little self-control often hurts others just to feel less powerless inside. A person full of insecurity is often sensitive, sarcastic, eager to pull others down just to rebalance the ego. When you understand this, you begin to see their behavior more accurately. You still keep boundaries. Still say, this is not okay. Still walk away if needed, but you no longer take their pain and use it to rewrite your value. You do not carry their attitude back to your bed at night. Do not turn their mood into your self-portrait. Do not let their wounds shape your identity. That is a very powerful form of compassion, to clearly see that the other person is lost, but not get lost with them. 8. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Not every false judgment is worth stepping into. This is a very high level of inner strength. Most people drain their peace simply because they are obsessed with the need to be understood correctly. Someone tells your story wrong, you must correct it. Someone judges you wrongly, you must explain. Someone does not see your value, you must prove it. And then you lose time, lose energy, lose sleep, just to correct a story that sometimes the other person never wanted the truth about in the first place. Stoicism teaches something very powerful. There are times when letting people misunderstand you is wiser than trying to make them understand you correctly. Not because you are weak, but because you understand that the truth about who you are does not depend on how well others grasp it. You do not need to win against every rumor. Do not need to answer every sarcastic remark. Do not need to save your reputation in every room. Sometimes, the more you react, the more you chain yourself to a battle that is not worth it. The unsteady person will think silence means losing. The steady person will understand, not everything deserves a response from me. Let them misunderstand if the price of correcting it is your peace of mind. That price is too high. Let your life answer instead of your mouth. Let the way you live do the work that explanation cannot do. Truth does not need to shout. If you have listened this far, I want to ask you a very honest question. In your life right now, what are you more tired from? One means being too busy correcting the way others see you, too busy explaining, proving, defending yourself just to be understood properly. Two means you are beginning to let go, understanding that not every misunderstanding is worth entering, and not everyone deserves an explanation from you. Comment 1 or 2 right below. And if you want to learn how to keep your peace without needing to win every small conversation, subscribe to the channel and keep going with me. 9. The mask you wear to be accepted is the very thing exhausting you most. Many people are not only hurt because of others, they are hurt because they are living too far away from themselves. They wear a mask just kind enough to be loved, just strong enough so no one looks down on them, just agreeable enough so no one leaves, just successful enough to feel valuable. Little by little, they no longer know what is their real self and what is only a performance to be accepted. And a life that must constantly manage its image like that is incredibly exhausting. Every interaction becomes a performance. Every word becomes calculation. Every room becomes a stage. Stoicism pulls you back. Live truthfully enough that you do not have to spend your whole life managing an image. You do not always need to be the one who is right. Do not always need to be the strong one. Do not always need to pretend you are unaffected. One of the greatest sources of pain is the identity contract you secretly write with life. If I am a good person, then everyone must be kind to me. If I am capable, then no one is allowed to look down on me. If I am strong, then I am not allowed to be hurt. Those contracts break you very quickly, because the world never signed them. Freedom begins when you stop protecting the image and start living from truth. You do not need to be perfect to be worthy. Do not need to always be seen as right in order to have value. Do not need a mask in order to exist. When you drop some of the mask, you become lighter. And strangely enough, other people also feel more at peace around you, because truth always has its own kind of gravity. It does not need to strain. 10. Do not wait until impact comes to learn calm. Practice calm before impact arrives. Stoicism has an extremely powerful principle. Prepare the mind for adversity in advance. Not to live in fear, but so you are not shocked when life does what life has always done. Most people do not break because adversity is too great. They break because they were never prepared for the possibility that adversity might come. They assume today everyone will behave well. Everything will go according to plan. No one will disappoint them. No one will touch their pride. Then when the opposite happens, they collapse as if life has betrayed them. The Stoic is different. He reminds himself beforehand, today someone may be difficult. A plan may fall apart. Someone may misunderstand me. There may be friction. Not to be negative, but to step into the day with inner strength already warmed up. If you already know life can be harsh, you are no longer naive every time difficulty appears. You no longer treat every disruption as a personal attack. You see it as training. This is how emotional muscle is built. Practice in the mind first, so when real life arrives, you do not fall into total panic. Calm is not a natural gift. It is the result of training. 11. The things that irritate you most are your emotional gym. Someone cuts in line, a sarcastic remark, a late reply to a message, a disrespectful look, a false assumption, a plan thrown off rhythm. Most people treat those things as what ruins their day. The Stoic treats them as training. You do not build muscle by avoiding weights. And you do not build inner strength by avoiding every trigger. Every time you are touched and do not react with the old instinct, you are training. Every time anger rises and you breathe instead of explode, you are training. Every time you are criticized and do not rush into self-defense like a reflex, you are training. No one applauds those reps, but those are exactly what make you stronger. Every trigger can be a rep. Traffic jam. Rep. Being interrupted. Rep. Being misunderstood. Rep. A message not answered. Rep. Other people's coldness. Rep. Each rep is a moment when you choose, will I continue being a slave to my old reaction, or will I train a new one? The difference in a mature person is not that they are never triggered anymore. It is that they know how to use the trigger to grow. Do not ask why life keeps irritating you. Ask where life is training you. 12. Speaking while still bleeding is usually not truth. It is only the wound talking. This is something many people refuse to learn. They think letting it all out is freedom. Many times it is not. Many times it is only the wound erupting. Someone hurts you. You want to speak immediately, react immediately, fire back immediately, make them feel what you feel. But the truth is, words spoken while emotion is still too hot are usually not the voice of wisdom. They are the voice of pain. A wound does not know how to speak beautifully. It speaks to discharge, to demand fairness, to punish, to make the other person hurt too. And after the heat passes, what remains is regret. Stoicism teaches a beautiful principle: let the wound speak to you first, and only afterwards speak to the other person. Sit with the pain, listen to where it is hurting, what it needs, what it is afraid of, what it is trying to protect. When you move through that first layer of fire, you begin to see more clearly. And many things you once wanted to say in blood, later only need to be said in truth. Speaking from the cut causes pain. Speaking from the scar carries wisdom. That is the difference between unloading and maturing. If you have stayed with me until the end of this video, leave a number in the comments so I know what touched you most strongly today. 1 means you need to learn not to let other people's words control your emotions. 2 means you need to let go of more expectations, ego, and invisible contracts with life. 3 means you want to build an inner strength powerful enough to walk through insult, misunderstanding, and chaos while still keeping yourself. Comment 1, 2, or 3 right now. And if you enjoy content that is deep, sharp, clear, and helps you grow stronger from the inside, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. In the end, being emotionally untouchable does not mean you no longer feel anything. It means you no longer let anyone casually walk into your inner world, push your buttons and walk away. You still hear the insult, still see the dishonesty, still run into coldness, selfishness, misunderstanding, and chaos, but you no longer dissolve into them. That is the difference. The weak are shaped by other people. The strong shape themselves. The weak live by reaction. The strong live by choice. The weak keep asking, why did they do this to me? The strong ask, what will I let this teach me? You do not need the whole world to behave correctly in order to have peace. You only need to stop handing your emotional sovereignty over to the world. Remember this, it is not that they make you lose peace. You lose peace at the moment you believe they have the right to do that. It is not their words that drown you. What drowns you is the part inside you that still needs their approval. It is not that the chaos out there is too great. It is that the inside of you is not quiet enough yet. But the good news is, that quiet can be trained, that steadiness can be practiced, that freedom can be taken back, one pause at a time, one moment of not reacting too quickly at a time, one moment of looking at the wound instead of blaming outward at a time, one moment of letting the insult fall to the ground without bending down to pick it up. That is how you become a mountain in the middle of the storm. The wind still blows, the rain still pounds, the world is still chaotic, but you no longer move with it. And that is real power.